Good afternoon. Let me do what needs to be done first, and then we'll get on with the meeting. In the event of a fire alarm sounds, please remain in the auditorium and stay seated. Should there be a need to evacuate, a Springmore staff member will direct you on how to leave in an orderly fashion. Please remember not to use the elevators and go to a red pole once outside. And I would ask you now, if you will, take just a moment, if you haven't already done so, to turn off or silence your cell phone so that they will not interrupt us during the program. I would like at this time to call the meeting of the Springmore Residents Association to order and welcome you to the first meeting of 2025. It's good to see so many of you here today, and I hope that we have a lot also watching on 1341. Please remember that the Residents Association meetings are live streamed to 1341, thanks to Carrie Ritchie, who's manning the camera today. They are also recorded, and so within 48 hours, you can go to the resident portal, and you can also see the meeting on the resident portal. And you can also, if you'd like, all of the 2024 meetings are still on the resident portal as well. I would like at this time to ask if there are any new residents who are attending a Residents Association meeting for the very first time. If you are, raise your hand, please. Okay, we do have some. Joanne will be bringing you a microphone, and I would like for you to stand, please, and give us your name, your residence address, and when you moved to Springmore and where you moved to Springmore from. So,
raise your hand, please. Get real close to you.
I am Betsy Carson. I live in 2525 South Village. I moved the middle of November.
Are there any other new members? Welcome to Springmore, Betsy. I would like to remind you of the fact that every resident at Springmore is automatically a member of the Residents Association. The association operates through 17 different committees. And at this time, I would like for any of the committee chairs who are in the auditorium, if you would please stand or raise your hand and be recognized. If you're a committee chair for 2025, please stand or be recognized. All right, now if you are a member of a committee under one of those 17 committees, would you now please stand and be recognized? Everybody wants to raise their hand. Let's give them a big hand. And we want to thank all you committee chairs, and we want to thank all of you who are on those committees, because you are what makes Springmore run. So we appreciate the service that you're giving. The 17 committees feed information and suggestions to the Residents Association Executive Committee. And I would like at this time to recognize the 2025 Executive Committee. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing and hold your applause until all have been recognized. First, I guess I need to introduce myself in case there is somebody who doesn't know me. My name is Jim Bundy, and I am the president of the Residents Association for 2025. Up here at the podium with me is Barbara Smith, who's the vice president. And over here on the side row, we have the other members of the executive committee. We have Peg Simone, who's the secretary. We have Judy Allen. We have Tracy Hurley. We have Joanne Wooten. We have Charlene Young. These are the directors of the Residents Association. And finally, we have the past president of the Residents Association, who served as president for 2 years, Alan Page. Now let's give them a round of applause also. The executive committee acts as a sounding board to the Springmore management team. The head of that management team is the new executive director, Brad Dilday. Unfortunately, Brad was not able to be present with us today because he was called to an emergency out of town. The emergency is that his wife and children are currently at Disney World for the week. And they felt that it was important for him to be there with them rather than to be here with us. Brad said he was only an email away, but I suggested to Brad that he turn his phone off, put it in the drawer, and have a great week with his family because we can handle it. And one of the reasons that we can handle it is because he left some very capable staff behind, starting with the new Executive Director, Jessica Pagan. Jessica, I believe you have some words for us, and also you want to introduce 2 new staff members to us. So, Jessica, please come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first thank you all for coming out to this important meeting. It's always nice to see so many people come out, and I really appreciate the words that we get to kind of listen to, especially today. The topics every month, they're so good for each of us. I know that Brad and I are just so grateful to be a part of the leadership team here at Springmore, and we're so grateful for all of the committees that many of you serve on and the support that we're able to provide to you. This year, 2025, we're really looking forward to where we are and where we're going, and our team is so strong here at Springmore. We have 2 new team members that have joined us that I wanted to introduce you all to today. We have Bethany Yates, and she's our new HR director, and she's going to stand here. And we also have Miss Sarah Coleman, who is our new administrative assistant in the business office. I'm sure that many of you have already had an opportunity to speak with Sarah. She's been with us a little bit over a month now, and Bethany started earlier this month. We're very grateful for both of them, the experience that they're bringing to our team, and our team is now fully together, and we're just excited for the year and the good things to come. So thank you all for being here today. All right.
Thank you, Jessica, and welcome Sarah and Bethany to the Springmore team. At this time, I would like to call Susan Walton, the chair of the Management Advisory Committee, to the podium for an explanation of the memo that you received last week concerning questions and comments to be sent to the Management Advisory Committee, so that they might be addressed at the semi-annual Residents Association meeting coming up in March. Susan?
Well, I'd like to think that our memo was self-explanatory. However, in case those of you who may not know, newer people who are here, we as a retirement community are required to report at least to the Commission of Insurance for North Carolina, and that their regulations require us to have 2 meetings a year with the upper management of Springmore. Those meetings are in March and September. The September meeting is for them to answer any questions that we have about the new budget for the next year. And the March meeting is to answer any other questions that people have and concerns that people have about maybe what's going on, don't understand what's happening, have an issue that you think needs to be addressed that would impact everyone. If you have a private issue to be addressed, you can go to Brad or Jessica and talk to them yourself. But if it's an issue that you think would concern other people in the community, then this is the time to bring it forward and get an answer for everybody. The management committee is charged, the management advisory committee is an advisory committee for management, particularly related to the budget. That means that we go over the budget, we review it with the department heads, the various department heads and chairs of committees, and make recommendations to management concerning the budget. And in order to do that, we solicit questions from the residents. That's what we're charged to do. Gather questions from the residents, put them together in a form, make sure that it's readable, that they can see it, they get it in time to prepare answers for the questions and so forth. So we're asking each and every one of you, if you have an issue or question or anything that relates to anything that's non-budgetary, at this March meeting is the time to bring those forward in order to put it together in a packet that's available to management and helpful to them. We need those questions by February the 3rd so that we can go over them, make any recommendations that we may have about them from residents' perspective. So if everyone would please think about that. Is there anything that you really want to know or you feel like everyone has an interest in knowing? And then if you will just send that to me by email. My email is on the memo that went out. So is my phone number. And also you can just handwrite something and stick it in the in-house mail. Either one will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I hope that each of you will consider using the opportunity to express your budget concerns and any non-budget questions you may have about Springmore's operation. Brad Dilday, Brandon Hare, and David Ammons will all schedule to be here for the March Residents Association meeting to address your concerns. And as Susan has indicated, if you have some budget concerns, hold those for the September meeting. Okay, enough business. It's now time for the program, so I turn the meeting over to Barbara Smith, our Vice President.
It's so great to have all of you here. It really is. We are very fortunate today, and we're very fortunate here in the city of Raleigh to have what's called the Raleigh Rescue Mission. And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Kerfoot. Well, really, it's Eugene Kerfoot. Have you ever heard a name like that? You'll never forget it. Ritter. Eugene Kerfoot Ritter. He is a resident here and was the one that brought this to my attention. He is on the Capital Campaign Committee of the Raleigh Rescue Mission and has worked for them been a member of that for several years. But he is a resident here in 315 East, and I'm going to let him introduce Mr. John Luckett.
Thank you, Barbara. It's my pleasure to introduce John. John came to the Raleigh Rescue Mission almost 8 years ago. He brings with him 30 years of executive leadership in a variety of industries. He graduated from the University of Memphis, and from there went to Atlanta to get into the banking industry and spent a number of years there in the banking. But he never forgot his childhood. He grew up in poverty in the rural part of Mississippi in the 1960s, and so you can imagine what life was back in those days. So he worked in banking for a while, but because of his childhood memories, he thought that he was called to create an environment for youth to grow and learn in a business environment. And so he became an owner-operator of both Wendy's and Chick-fil-A franchises, and did that for a number of years. But he was soon faced with challenges such as many of us have been faced, and that is of having to support aging parents. And that took him several years. Based upon that experience, he then went into the senior living business, and during those years, he met a person that you'll remember, Brandon Hare. In fact, he and Brandon and John had dinner here, I guess, a couple months ago to renew some of those memories. But eventually, John and his wife of now 37 years Cynthia decided it was time to give back to the community. And so he became the CEO of the Good Samaritan Health Center in Raleigh, in Atlanta, where they offered services to the underprivileged in the area and some of the poor parts of Atlanta, and eventually expanded those services into supporting the homeless population there. And eventually, they felt led to get into working with the homeless on a full-time basis. And so so we're privileged to have John as the president and CEO of the Raleigh Rescue Mission. So please welcome John Luckett.
Thank you for that introduction. So it's a pleasure to be here. I tell you, I have the best job I ever had, working with individuals at the Raleigh Rescue Mission. What's unique about what I do, and we're going to get into a lot of other things here, is that this was news to me that until I got into this industry, about 80% of the people that are experiencing homelessness are actually trying to get back in the mainstream. We often see the pictures of people on, at the corners and things like that. That only represents about 20% of the population. They actually, 80%, and we get this data through the Wake County Public School System. About 40 years ago, the McKinney-Vento Act was passed, and a federal government act where the goal was, let's do something with the kids that are coming to school that are homeless, and they called them situational homeless, and now they're called transitional homeless. But basically, there's a large percentage, and we serve a lot of women and children, but also outside of that, there are men that fit into that category too. So I'm going to try to catch you up a little bit on Raleigh Rescue Mission. It's been around 63 years. I didn't start it, as he told you that. But it was started by business people. And their focus was they saw people that had potential but didn't have the networking or the support systems to actually get good jobs and get back in the mainstream. And so we've grown over the years, and at the core of what we do, we connect people to business people. Matter of fact, Springmore is going to be bringing down some people to volunteer and interact with. Several churches are doing that. This connectivity and this networking, which is what I owe my career to. My parents were poor, and all the networking I've had to give me all these jobs were because there were people who said, hey, I'm going to invest in you so you can have a better life. And that's what we're doing at Raleigh Rescue Mission. So I want to take you through this because I want to leave plenty of time for Q&A because that's really the best time. I want to answer your questions here. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of what our core program is that we develop. It's called a New Life Plan. And basically, at the core, we believe that every person is created in the image of God, and they have sacred value. And we believe God has given people a unique set of gifts and abilities, but we know it needs other individuals to surround them and support them. And that's what we do. We come along and we assist people so that they can live out their God-given purpose. And we need individuals in our society doing good things and not doing bad things. And so we're there to assist them doing those things. But our New Life Plan, we made it look very marketing oriented. Kerfoot is an old marketer, so he kind of helped me with this when I came up 7 years ago, to make sure that we had a path, a way for people to get out of homelessness, to actually get a job, to actually get a car, and actually get a place to live. And so our program is not a program that's built where we just give handouts to people. They move on site. We're like a training center for homeless people that want to get back into the mainstream. Now, we have 1,600 people inquiring about this New Life Plan every year. And I'm going to tell you what we're doing about that, because we can only serve in our small building right now about 400 people a year. But that's the demand for people saying, I really want to get back in the mainstream. I know we all hear about people who don't want to do anything, but there are a large number of people who want to do things. So just kind of give you a number, there's about 5,654 children in the Wake County public school system alone that are considered transitional homeless. That represents about 2,200 single moms or dads, mostly it's moms. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That doesn't include single women or single men at all. So with that number alone, if we were to bring all of them downtown Raleigh today, we'd be on the news because they say, goodness gracious, Raleigh's got a huge homeless problem, right? Well, obviously, they're not downtown. They're hidden. Where are they? They're living in their cars. They're living in the daily, weekly motels, and they're sofa surfing. That's where the majority of people, they're staying with people short term. There's a lot of issues going on with that. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of domestic violence going on. There's a lot of things happening that keeps them from being stable. And so we address them. So phases 1 through 4 are on site at our training center in downtown Raleigh now, and we both have women and men there. Women and children on the 3rd floor, and we have men on the 2nd floor. And yes, we got all the doors locked, we got cameras, we got alarms, everything, because we come there to find a new life, not a new love. So we want to make sure that they're right there for the right reason, right? So we have that, and then once they complete that program, one of the key programs that we have is phase 3. It's called the Jobs for Life. You guys, some of you all may be familiar with this. It started here in Raleigh. It's international now, but it's a very practical program that many of us got when we were children, growing up with our parents and through the bankers. It just teaches you the basics of how to be a great employee, how to interview, how to do all those things, how to be an asset to a company. As we all know, company's not looking for people that want to tear the company down. They're looking for people who want to build the company up, right? So we teach all these things in this process here. The beauty we have, and this is a great city, I know many of you all know this, that we have great employers who are waiting. We graduate people every month, and they're waiting for our graduates, so we don't have a problem getting people jobs at $15 to $20 an hour, which is a big difference than it was 7 years ago. Once they graduate, they still live on site, and they save their money so they can purchase them a car, because the better jobs are going to be outside of here. So we work them with that. They pay 75%, we pay 25% for them to get a car. And then the last, and one of the most important you've heard about is housing. And we have a network of small business owners, landlords, that will actually rent to our clients at below market rate, which is amazing. None of this is financed by government funding. We don't receive government funding at all. So just want to let you know that this is all done privately, been done for 63 years. So it's an amazing thing. And what's so amazing to me about this, I'll tell you this one story. Lauren, watch my time here. But we had a guy at NC State that actually, he's doing okay, but he's not doing great. He heard about our program. He wanted to be involved. He actually bought a house to rent to our clients. And we have two women with children living in, he got a split level there. So it's amazing to me to see how people get excited about helping individuals really live out their God-given purpose in life. So anyway, this is what's driving what we're doing. Phases 5, we move people into the apartments, and then phase 6, we have a great partnership with Habitat for Humanity, and they can get started in that early program. We've had at least one person get a house there, and so we hope to get back on that. We had the little thing, you guys probably heard about it, COVID happened there, time period, kind of messed us up a little bit there, but we're back on track now, and hopefully this next year we can get someone in a house there. So that's a little bit about, but this is the engine that has driven what we're getting ready to do, and I want to make sure you understand this. We've been so successful, but we're not satisfied. Reaching only 400 people a year out of 1,600 that are acquired is just not enough. We're turning away too many people. So with that in mind, we said we have got to start looking at a way to expand this, because we can truly change our community, and we all know this, by investing in those who are willing and able to work, but they just need a little assistance. It doesn't help us to give out a check from the federal government to somebody who's willing to work. That's not a good strategy. That's not a good long-term strategy. We'll never build enough houses for people who don't work. We have to get people working. We have to get them in great jobs so they can rent their own apartment and one day maybe hopefully own their own homes. That's the model that has been successful for years and years, and we need to make sure that we keep that alive. So what we're going to go to next is a little, I think we got our little video of what we're building.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears have gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again to a family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I am surrounded by the arms of a Father. I am surrounded by songs of deliverance. We've been liberated from our bondage. We're the sons and the daughters. Let us sing our freedom.
So we are going to be going from, this is women and children only. We're going to having 60 women and children on our campus downtown to 300 to 350 per night in this for campus. And the impact we're going to have will be, we expect, once we're fully up and operating, to have the ability to impact 1,000 women and children per year. So you remember we're talking about those numbers. The numbers are escalating very fast as far as the number of women, children. Matter of fact, they're the leading number of individuals that are becoming homeless. And so we expect to begin to reduce that number in our region. Now, we not only serve Wake County, but we serve the Triangle and actually 23 other counties in eastern North Carolina. So we will be able to expand and serve more people to get them back on their feet. So this campus, think about it as a training center. People come in, they stay for several months. We help them get that job, help them get a car, help them get housing, and then they move out. They're not living there long term. So we think this is the best use of the facility to keep transitioning people through, as opposed to just building a facility where people are living there long term, because that's really not the best use of someone who's the age range is anywhere from 21 to about 50, our sweet spot. These people can still work and have a life. So I'm going to say a little bit more about that later on, but let's get the testimonials of the people in the community that are behind us here.
Unfortunately, we've tried to say homelessness is the same across the U.S. It's not. It's very unique.
About 80% of the folks that are coming to the Raleigh Rescue Mission are situationally homeless as opposed to chronically homeless, which is what, when people think homeless, they think of the person on the street.
But there's another large population of folks that find themselves without a home that just fell through the cracks.
We have experienced a lot of inquiries over the last 5 to 6 years since I've been here about our New Life program. So we are experiencing inquiries in the range of 1,600 people a year saying, hey, I would like to be in this program.
There's more women than there is men, and the women's program is more diverse because not only do you have the single women, but you have the single moms with children.
Raleigh Rescue Mission has a bold vision, and their vision is to build this facility which will increase their capacity to help women and children approximately 500%.
The new Women and Children's Facility in Knightdale will check a lot of boxes. Women that have experienced homelessness, children that are off track in their development, educationally and otherwise.
There's people there that really care about you. It's genuine, unconditional love.
We set a goal 2 years ago that we wanted to raise $25 million. $20 million of that was going to be private, quiet phase, and then we'll go to the public phase after we got to the 20 million. Well, I'm excited to say today that we've achieved the quiet phase goal of $20 million. That's a major accomplishment for a small organization like us. We see that as God's hand blessing us, but also directing us that this is the right time, this is the right season for us to move ahead with this. So currently we are now in the public phase where we're sharing with everybody what we've accomplished and that we need to raise an additional $5 million to carry that out.
The culture that we hopefully have, not only this community, but this country, is to let people have a second chance. And you can't just write somebody off.
We've always felt that when God blesses you, that you need to pass those blessings on. And you need to always have your hands open, and you never can outgive God.
I think it goes back to the Bible. We're called to serve. We're called to help the needy. We're called to come alongside those who are in need.
To have this opportunity, it's priceless. It really is to offer all we can for the women, but to inspire them, because many of them want more for their children. They just don't know how to give it to them, and Raleigh Rescue Mission's programs can help them with that.
I think there's a lot of shame that comes with walking through the door of admitting that you can't make ends meet and you need help. And Raleigh Rescue Mission is a place where not only do they say, come in, we're going to help you, but you are loved and you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
What I've learned about myself being in a New Life plan is I can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens me. I really can do anything. And I live on that, and I tell my kids that you can do anything.
So in closing, I'm going to get to some Q&A. I think one of the key things that I want to inform you all about that we have a plan to reduce homelessness. We have a solution, not for everybody. You know, any organization tell you to have a solution for everything, you need to double check that, because that's probably not true. But we do have a plan for the situational homeless, those who are interested in getting back into the workforce, that are committed to working And that's a large percentage of the individuals there. There are a series of unfortunate events that happen to individuals, and they don't have families, they don't have support systems to help them through that. There are difficult times, but as a community and as Raleigh Rescue Mission, and we do partner with Meals on Wheels and other organizations, some great organizations in the Triangle that are assisting people. We can't do this by ourselves, but we do have a niche, and we're committed to our niche of helping individuals and helping them get back into the mainstream and be successful. So that's a little overview of what I have. I'm open for questions. Yes, ma'am. Oh, we got to do the mic. Yeah, let's do the mic there. Okay.
I'm not sure it's on yet. But I have a pretty loud voice. My question is, how do you evaluate your successes?
The question was, how do we evaluate our successes? So I'm going to tell you the way I evaluate successes at the Raleigh Rescue Mission is evaluate the successes of my children, that they get a job and that they start promoting themselves. Because truly, our program is built on getting individuals. Now, they need a little bit more assistance because I've been working with my kids for 18 years. I mean, they're all 30-something years old. They're CPA. One is in financial planning. But what we do in our New Life program, if you want to put that back up there, is that we invest in them because many of them have had some traumas in their lives that have caused them to lose confidence and actually fall through the cracks. And so the first two phases of our program is how do we help restore that? That includes medical, mental health, that includes some basic things. And so then our focus is getting them a job. So that's really the foundational piece of what we do, and then building from that. Because we just don't believe you can just give a person a check every day and that's going to help them be successful in life. You know, that's not the way it works. They haven't earned it. They didn't build it up. It's not like they invested time and energy in working for a company long term. They're at the beginning of their career. So, good question. Yes, right here, sir.
Thank you for the work you do. I'm happy to be a supporter of Raleigh Rescue Mission. I wonder, thank you. Can you hear me?
I'll repeat it anyway. Go ahead.
My question is, there are a number of organizations in the Raleigh-Cary area like Urban Ministries, Oak City Cares, and Dorcas Ministries. Is there any collaboration among these different organizations that serve similar or overlapping purposes?
Yeah, the question is there a collaboration among the various nonprofits? And you are correct. There are a lot of different ones. So, yes, we have a monthly meeting that I go to occasionally talking about how we can support each other. I will tell you, we are one of the few that have focused in on the women and children that are homeless. A lot of them are working with individuals that are already community-based, so they have a place to live, but they have other needs, which are very legitimate, right? The last thing we want to do is wait till somebody gets all the way homeless before we start helping them, right? That's not a good strategy. So I would say that we partner with them. We work with them. When we get someone at a certain point, we pass them on to them because Dorcas is a great ministry, as you know. You mentioned that one. There are other ones throughout our Salvation Army. We work with Oak City Cares. Everyone we work with, I think it's about the touch point, right? We are for the worst of the worst, those that have really lost everything, and they're now trying to rebuild their life there. And so we are there, and then we pass them on to other ones as they grow there. So the big one is I'm sure you guys have heard about, is obviously medical services. We partner with several medical services places, third party, because we want to equip these individuals when they leave the mission. They have all of the resources to be successful. They don't have to come back to the mission to get resources. We want to make sure they graduate and move on. Good question.
If someone is found to have an addiction to alcohol or drugs, how do you handle that?
Yes. Question was, if someone has an addiction to drugs or alcohol. I think you all know, and you can look up on Google, that is raging our country across no matter socioeconomic lines, from the millionaires to people that are homeless. So we partner with Healing Transitions and NC Recovery. So if a person's in the throes of addiction, we have them go there first, and they spend a number of months there, and then they can come to our program. We do not deal with, first case addiction there. You need to be skilled to do that and have pretty much a focused program for that. Once they come to us, though, part of their recovery is that they are involved in our classes that happen in phases, all the way phases 1 through 3, and also they go to recovery, AA and NA, pretty much 2 to 3 nights a week. So we have this because this is going to be their way of life, right? Once you become an addict, it's not like one day you wake up and it's over with. I know there's miracles that happen and people do that, but most of the time you got to work it out, and you got to keep going to AA or NA meetings for the rest of your life while you work a job, and that's how we work with those individuals.
How does a person actually apply? What do they do to apply to get one of the places?
Yes. Good question. What does a person do to apply? So we do have a process that you have to go through. Typically, people call us on the phone or email us. It's amazing. Everything's changed since COVID. We used to have a lot of people walk up to the door, and we still have some of those. And I want to tell you about our community outreach program. But most people contact us. We call them. We do an inquiry over the phone to make sure that it's worth their time and we're a good fit for them. If it isn't, we will give them other resources then. But if it is, they will come down for an assessment. Our assessment is basically an interview to make sure it's the right fit for you. We want to make sure that you understand it's a back-to-work program. This is not a program where you come and you sleep all day and hang out and eat 3 meals a day. That's not what we do. We get you prepared to get back into the workforce. And so that process is we're interviewing people every day through inquiry and then assessments. People come down. I will tell you about a community outreach. There's always been this battle. I'm sure you've heard it. Do you give a man a fish or you teach him how to fish? Well, we believe as a Christian organization, you do both. We should give a man a fish and teach him how to fish. And so we have a community outreach program that actually provides a meal. It's not a lavish meal. It's a sandwich and 2 side items, 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now it's the same type of sandwich. We don't have scrambled eggs for the morning and then roast beef for the lunch. It's a sandwich. It's decent. But we use that as a way to let many of the people that are in downtown say, hey, we love you. We see you. We have a program if you would like to get off the street to come into our program. We want to make sure that we're invited because there's a lot of trust has been broken. There's a lot of things that have happened in these people's lives. They don't trust anybody. And so we are trying to bridge that gap to say, yes, here's some food. We don't want you to starve, but here's a long-range program for you to actually get back on your feet. And so that's more than what you asked for, I know, but that's what we do. Yes, sir, right here.
Okay.
And then we got one back here.
How did you raise your first $20 million, and what were the major sources for that funding?
Yes, good question. So it was a miracle, I'll tell you that, because we never raised that much money before. So we contacted some of these individuals you saw here on the video there, prominent individuals in the community. We shared with them about our plan to grow. We showed them the information and the data we had, and they lined up with pledges and commitments to raise it. It was all privately raised, private, what they call quiet phase, funding. And so I think we had first $20 million was raised about 200 people raised that $20 million. So many of these people, I'll be quite honest, I've been here 7 years. I didn't know them, but they knew about the Raleigh Rescue Mission. Matter of fact, some of them were second generation. Their parents had been involved in the Raleigh Rescue Mission. So they knew about us. And actually, what they said was, about time, John, you started to grow, because we figured you you got a great program, but you're not reaching enough people. So they were excited about getting on board. So.
What is the relationship between the Raleigh Rescue Mission and the Durham Rescue Mission?
Question was, what is the relationship between the Raleigh Rescue Mission and the Durham Rescue Mission? We have no connection as far as financial because these groups are all individually have their source there, but we're great friends. Ernie and Gail Mills welcomed me and my wife Cynthia when we moved here 7 years ago, and so we actually will refer back and forth clients that we feel like are a better fit for their program. Their program is a little bit different, and they're larger than we are at this point in time. And so we have a different niche, but we partner back and forth. The new individual that is this executive director, we meet pretty often just to kind of compare notes and see how we can encourage each other.
You get referrals from schools.
Raise your hand.
Do you get referrals from schools?
The question is, do we get referrals from school? Yes, we do. Somewhat. This is the complicated thing, right? Your mom, your children go there, you're experiencing difficult things. You really don't want your kids highlighted as having problems or anybody in the school system knowing it. So there are school counselors, as you know, that we have contact with, and they will refer them. The requirement is, even if you have a referral, the mom needs to call us or someone else directly so we can get all the information. But it's a very private thing, and many of the moms, and you can imagine this in the children, are just, they feel like a failure. They feel like it's a lot of shame. It's a lot of that. And so we try to work through a lot of that and not make it a big deal and handle it as privately as we can. Now, on the flip side, I will tell you, because we do have on site a child development center which deals with preschool and also school-age kids. And so when a mom comes there, her kids continue to go to school if they're obviously not school-age. We have a preschool there. And so we continue to provide that service to them that really can help their children excel in school and actually get caught up in school. Matter of fact, this is the crazy thing. During COVID, our kids, the parents were able to continue to work, and the kids that were in our CDC, because we had staff, will continue to work with their kids. Now, if you were privately, you'd had to hire a nanny to do that, right, or somebody to come into your house. They actually fared better on testing than the kids who were not, because they had someone there with them the whole time. So we're really filling in a gap right there. There's one more thing on this. You opened up the floodgates there. One more thing I want to tell you. There's a little loophole in the federal system for a voucher. So if you're a poor woman that doesn't have a job, but you want to get a job, and you don't want to take government assistance just to stay in an apartment, you want to get a job, you have to get a job and show 2 paychecks before you can get a voucher for your child to go to preschool. Well, the gap is, how do you do that if you don't have anybody to support you? That's where we come in, and we actually support them. They can live on site, they can get a job, and then we help them get that voucher. But when so many people say, why are these women not working? There's actually a legitimate barrier that keeps them from getting the job. Many of the ladies come to me and say they would prefer to give me a house than to actually help me get a job. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's just, I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just telling you what I've heard from the ladies that come to us, which is mind-blowing. All right, let's go next.
I have some questions about the Nightdale Center.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have land?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's your timeline for it?
Yeah, all right.
The third question is, how are you going to deal with transportation from Nightdale?
Okay, good question. So let me go ahead and stack them all up. The first one, land. We were bequeathed 60 acres of land about 15, 20 years ago. I wasn't here. And we didn't know what to do with it because there's no water and sewer out there. So about 2.5 years ago, after our New Life Plan was up and going, they said, hey, let's start looking for some land. And we said, okay, well, well, let's look at the land. Let's draw a circle around where we are downtown because we're going to keep the old location downtown for men. So lo and behold, the new land, the land that we had, was in the scope. So we said, okay, we don't need 60 acres. What are we going to do with that? How are we going to get water and sewer? We're not developers. So through our contacts, people, and I believe God, brought this contact in there, said that, oh, you know what? We have the town of Knightdale and Lennar home builders want to build in that area. So they bought 45 acres. We have 15 acres is what we need. They paid premium price for it at that time because, the price keeps going up. But, and so now we have a partnership on the same area. If you drive into that, you will see a subdivision on to your right, single-family homes, and you'll see ours, what you saw, which looks like an apartment. That's a key part to our design, that it looks like an apartment, not a rundown rescue mission from the old, 100 years ago where people go. Now to your next question. Knightdale Station has been developed. It's about 5 minutes from there. We've got five vehicles right now to transport them to the bus station there. We're doing that downtown already. We're actually doing everything we're going to do as we duplicate ourselves out there. There's actually more jobs in that Knightdale, Wendell area than some of the ones in the downtown area. So we've kind of mapped that out. The town of Knightdale school system is looking forward to us coming there. The town, like I said, they've approved everything. And believe it or not, this is the amazing thing. All this is since COVID. You know how most of the people get to us now? It's not on bus. It's through Uber and Lyft. They show up in Uber and Lyft, or their family brings them. Really, it's kind of an amazing thing to us to see how the world has changed. So, I think that, and I will say one of the things, this is where the partnership comes through a lot of the other organizations. A lot of the other organizations are pass-through organizations, meaning they pass money from the federal government through to designated individuals. So individuals can actually get cash, but not enough to live on to get an Uber, to get a gas card, or get other things. And so a lot of them will pay for an Uber to come to the Raleigh Rescue Mission because they know they can get permanent help to get back on their feet. Did I answer all your questions? Timeline. We're breaking ground April 2025. We should be completed by fall of 2026.
Let's have one more question. Anybody has one? If not, let's thank John for this.
Thank you all.
And I think John ought to tell us who this pretty lady is.
Yes. So this is Lauren. This is my brain. She keeps with all the computers and takes care of everything for us, but she works for me at the Raleigh Rescue Mission on top of doing all the detailed things, and couldn't make a presentation without her. So
Thank you very much. This is very, very, very good information.
All right.
I love the Raleigh Rescue Mission, and they have done a lot in this city. I'm a Raleigh native, so I know what's going on around here. Next month, we will have a discussion on the drug journey, the development of drugs from the clinical trial all the way to the FDA. And I think it will be very informative. I know a lot of you are on metformin, and the lady that's going to be talking to us is CEO of a clinical trial business, and she will talk to us about metformin as one of the drugs that she took all the way to the FDA. So I think it will be interesting for you. And I'm going to turn this back over to the president so we can have some door prizes.
Thank you, Barbara. John, I'm going to ask you, if you will, to pick a number out of there.
Oh, okay. Is this for the $1 million lottery you got going?
I know that. I'm afraid we're not quite that level.
Get one?
No, give her the door prize.
Oh, give her the door prize. You got to call it out first.
All right, the number is, this is a red ticket, is 026686.
Oh, look at that. Good. It's Susan. Okay, here's this
All right.
one.
And now draw a blue ticket.
Oh, okay.
The number on this one is the blue ticket. It's 1480290. Got it? Okay. All right, we want to thank all of you for coming to the meeting today, and we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting, which, remember, will be the second Monday in February, which will be Monday, February the 10th at 3 o'clock. This meeting is now adjourned.